Welcome to The Quiet Truth, where a lay Catholic faces down the secular culture. I'm Tom Borek. Last time I spoke about the Protestant slide towards simplified doctrines and ever-splintering denominations that tempts us to believe that moving in that direction is somehow more intelligent and scientific than sticking with the truths taught by the one true church, established by Jesus Christ and entrusted to the care of St. Peter and his successors. Today, we begin to discuss another subject polluted with irrational and dangerous cultural messages: politics. My focus here will be extremely narrow. This series is about the appropriate lay Catholic response to the culture. Therefore, I won't take a position on any political issues about which there can be reasonable disagreement among Catholics. I'm not going to tell you that Catholics should be Democrats or Republicans or whatever. I'm not going to argue for particular positions on particular political issues. I'm only going to point out when ideas or messages are stupid or immoral. It is our obligation as lay Catholics to avoid both stupidity and immorality. We must strive to be responsible adults in a society that undermines responsible adult behavior in countless ways. In this particular presentation, I will further narrow the focus to a single concept or image that pervades nearly every politician's speech and the writing of nearly every political analyst. It's the lens through which political ideas are viewed and categorized. It is the left-right political spectrum line, and it looks like this. I call it the team line. In the U.S., when people talk about the political left or right, or about right-wing or left-wing ideas, they are referring to this image. Political ideas are categorized according to where they fall on this line. Marxism is at the extreme left, fascism is on the extreme right. Democrats are a bit to the left, Republicans are a bit to the right, and the center is some sort of compromise position between the Democrats and Republicans. As I said, virtually all political discussion references this line and this arrangement of beliefs, so one really can't understand political discussion without understanding it. Yet it is, of course, an oversimplification. But more importantly, it tends to severely distort our thinking. I call it the team line because it's more about cheering for one political team or another than it is about understanding their differences. And it certainly doesn't help understand the best positions to take on political issues. It's a poster for a political pep rally, not a meaningful explanatory diagram. Consider the opposite ends of the line. If the Marxist communists are on the extreme left, you naturally tend to expect that their political opposites should be on the other end. Wait a minute, what are the fascists, Nazis doing there? Fascism is not the opposite of Marxism, except in the sense that Marxist and fascist team members tend to hate each other, but they don't hate each other because they are polar opposites. They hate each other because they are competitors, because they both have the same goal: to have their gang become the dictator of whatever country they are in and then take over the world. The difference between communists and Nazis is not like the difference between angels and devils. It's more like the difference between Red Sox fans and Yankee baseball fans. They both want the same result. The revolutionary groups both want a world totalitarian dictatorship. The baseball teams both want someone to win the World Series. They just want different people to come out on top. The communists want a dictatorship of communists. The fascists want a dictatorship of fascists. The Sox want a Boston win, and the Yankees want a New York win. Communists and fascists both want secret police, secret phony trials, phony elections, slaughter or imprisonment of political opponents, and total control of the news media. They both want to control the education of children, so they will choose the state over the beliefs of their parents. They both want unlimited government power. The opposite of unlimited government power is zero government power. Therefore, a true continuum of political beliefs would have totalitarian dictatorships at one end and the absence of government, anarchy, or libertarianism on the other. The communists and fascists would be at approximately the same position on the line. Let's call this revised diagram the government power line, or the power line, because it distributes ideas and groups according to whether they favor more or less government power. This line reflects truth. It aids us in rational decision-making. Now that we've highlighted a bit of truth, let's go back to the team line and see how it warps thinking. Take a survey. Ask any number of your friends and coworkers, what's the opposite of fascism or Nazism? Then ask them, what's the opposite of Marxism or communism? I think you'll find that people who will answer the question at all will use the team line and say that communism and fascism are opposites. They've been brainwashed by the culture. They fundamentally misunderstand the nature of the two most destructive political movements of the last 100 years. The result of this ignorance is political polarization. People who particularly hated and feared the fascism of Adolf Hitler looked at the team line and said, "Wow, I hate the right. I want to support the opposite of that. I want to move myself, my family, my friends, my city, and my country way over to the left." The opposite is true as well. People particularly opposed to the political, religious, and economic oppression of communist regimes looked at the team line and said, "I hate the left. I want to support the opposite of that. I want to move myself and everyone else over to the right." This political polarization is truly horrible for our nation. It makes it extremely difficult to develop bipartisan solutions to problems. It makes it more difficult to create creative, constructive solutions to problems. It perverts elections. It makes them more about slogans and insults and less about ideas. It creates hatred, evil, sinful hatred. Of course, I'm not claiming that everyone on the left hates everyone on the right, or that everyone on the right hates everyone on the left. Nonetheless, political polarization is creating a massive amount of hatred. I know many, many people who are terribly, terribly uncomfortable with anyone who didn't share their choice for president during the 2016 election. The basic message of American politics, that it is about a struggle between left and right, is a lie that threatens not only our nation, but our very souls. As responsible lay Catholics, we must reject that way of looking at things. And we must reject it, no matter how many times we hear it, no matter how many charismatic public figures, and how many of our friends and family embrace it. It's a difficult job, but someone's got to do it. As often is the case, it has to be the Catholics. Thank you for your kind attention.